That's what she's asking.
It's on.
Are we going to keep it always for Monday? No. Hi everyone. How are you? How's everything? Nice to see you. Okay. And today I want to speak to you about there's so many levels, Baruch Hashem, as we try to get to our Torah. And so one of these would be Ayin Tova. Ayin Tova in a way that we want to merit other people. Not only, I know the laws, I know the Torah, I know what Hashem wants from me. You teach other people, you want to influence other people. Why is it important and how exactly do we do it? So, it says in Ruth Rabba, which is the Midrash on Megillat Ruth. Amar Rabbi Zira is asking a question. Megillat Ruth, en ba lo tum'ah velo ta'ara. You don't learn from this, not purity or impurity, not isur ve'eter, all kind of laws. And why is it written? ללמדך כמה שכר טוב לגומלי חסדים. To teach you what is the good reward that Hashem gives to people who make chesed, kindness, show all kind of acts of kindness to other people. We know that Elimelech, he was a leader, all right, at that time in Bethlehem, and they had hunger. There was nothing to eat. Okay, people lost money, people lost whatever they had, and instead of him taking responsibility and start helping and creating funds and starting to see what he can do to people, instead he had tzarut ayin. He was envious. He wasn't happy with with what other people might have, and so he decided that he disappears from the community. He just went to live in Moab. What is Moab? We know that Moab was a place that did not like to make any kindness to people. One of the reasons that the reason that Moabim cannot convert to Judaism is because they were not kind when we were on the way to Israel, right? So, and he decided to go and live among these people. So, as we coming close to Chag HaShavuot, one of the kinyanim, one of the things that the Torah, we own the Torah or learn how to take what is the kinyan? Something that one of these things is chesed. Chesed is kindness. Like it says, B'torat chesed al leshona. About 2 weeks ago, when we spoke about Tazria Metzorah, the haftarah of the parsha was about Gehazi. Gehazi was the student of Elisha that was envious, was not, the thing that he did that was wrong is he wanted the Torah just to himself. He wanted whatever he's going to accept from Elisha, only he would know. Others should not come to the class, would sit in the door, next to the door, and would not let people go in. We learned this already, it's not important, it's not some of this. So that only he would accept, only he would learn, and others would not know. This is Gehazi. Obviously, we don't want to learn these kind of examples tonight. We want to learn the opposite. What is Tov Ayin? When you're happy, when other people, how do you influence on other people? Last week or 2 weeks ago, somebody asked me a question. Are we supposed to influence other people, and how do we do it? So influence people is only after you love them, only after he sees or she sees that you care about them. If they don't see that you care, they don't want to listen, they don't want to learn, they don't want to get anything from you. It could be with children, could be husband and wife, could be with neighbors, could be with anybody. The Rambam, the Maimonides, in his introduction to laws of Avodah Zarah, in his book, Hayad HaChazaka, he says that he explains how people started to worship idols. In the beginning, when God created the world, so everybody knew that there's God and He created the world, He's the creator. But slowly, as years passed by, people forgot. People didn't know. They didn't know what is Hashem anymore, and started believing all kind of idols. Could be the stars and the sun, and then later on even stones and trees and stuff like that. Only very few individuals in the world knew who is Hashem, that there is one creator that created the world. These few people were Chanoch, Metushelach, Noach, Shem and Ever, for thousands of years. Okay? Until Abraham Avinu came. Abraham Avinu, we know that he was born in year 1948 to the creation of the world. So for almost 2,000 years, people were lost. Didn't know what does it mean to believe in one God. And then Abraham Avinu came. Abraham Avinu started to inquire, who created this world? Why are we here for? Who started everything? And from his own, he understood who is Hashem and what He wants from us. But the thing is that he didn't keep it to himself. He started to spread it all over. He goes from house to house, from synagogue to synagogue, from community to community, from neighborhood to neighborhood, and he tells people there's one Hashem, one God that created the world. We have to believe in Him. He started to collect people. He started to go from place to place and keep declaring and keep stating and keep saying there's one Hashem, there's one Hashem, there's one Hashem. So Bet Yosef, he's asking, in the time of Avraham Avinu lived Shem va'Ever. We know that Shem was the son of Noach. And the more you're closer to Adam HaRishon, to the first man, that was created by Hashem, right? There are greater people. Shem was the son of Noah. Noah was 10 generations after Adam. And they had yeshiva. We know that Yaakov, when he went to learn in Yeshivat Shem va'Ever, in Yeshiva of Shem and Ever, right? Ever was the son of Shem. So, why Abraham had the merit to found the Jewish nation and not Shem and Ever? Because Shem and Ever, as much as knowledge that they had, they kept it to themselves. So okay, they opened the yeshiva, but they didn't go from town to town, from place to place and declare there is Hashem, you have to believe in this, and explain what is Hashem and who is Hashem and how exactly to do it, what are the laws and how to be good people to one another. They didn't explain these things going from place to place. They said in their location, whoever comes will teach you, but that's about it. Same was Noah, their father, So I'll come to Noah in a second. So when it says when Abraham got an order from Hashem to circumcise himself, he says, until this time, if passerbys, all kind of people that pass next to my home or next to my tent, would come, and they would come after this procedure, what's going to happen with them? Who's going to greet them? Who's going to take care of them? Who's going to explain them what is Hashem? Who's going to make kiruv? Who's not going to make Zikuy Harabim, which is, caring for others so that they would know who's Hashem? I'm afraid. I don't want to do it. And they say here, Sheikh HaKadosh is asking, Avraham never complained or suggested or said anything to Hashem when Hashem asked him to go and sacrifice his son. When Hashem asked him all kind of things, he never had any complaints, any suggestions. Why now? So Abraham, yeah, he was ready to be thrown into this furnace that Nimrod wanted to kill him there, and to sacrifice his son, and to gather all his students and his people to run after the four kings, and yeah, he was ready to do this. But when he was asked, when he was ordered to circumcise himself, he said, yeah, but what's going to be with the people? He was afraid. You know, this is the beauty of Avraham Avinu, that the greatness of Avraham Avinu, the care about other people. Let's try to understand it. Mashal, they say, to a man, electrician, that works in a machinery room, okay? And there's not so much job to do, so he sits and reads a book. All of a sudden, all the system crashes, and there's blackout. No light, no nothing. So we know that whenever there's a shortage, whenever there's no lights, there's no electricity in the town, it could be a disaster. Respirators stop working for people who need in the hospitals, right? Elevators get stuck in all kind of buildings. People, there's nothing to see. It's so dark. They cannot walk properly. They stumble on all kind of things, and it's dangerous for people. Thieves, they like it. You know, for them it's a nice time when they can make their job because people don't see, and they can sneak, and they can do all kind of things. Well, basically, people have to take care of it. They cannot leave it this way. But our worker, he goes. He is looking for the drawer. He finds it, he opens, he takes a flashlight, he opens, turns on the light, keeps reading, he has light. Mm-hmm. This is what Hashem wants from us, to take care only of us, not to think about the others. That's how Avraham Avinu felt. Okay, I know who is Hashem, but shouldn't I spread it all over so that everybody will know? He cared for their merits. He wanted them to know. He wanted them to feel the same happiness that he feels when he knows what is Hashem. So this is what Avraham, and this is why Hashem desired him after so many thousands of years. He wanted him to found the Jewish nation, not all the others before. It says, "B'Teilim Olam Chesed Yibaneh." How is the world existing? Only on Chesed. When Noach came out from the ark, we mentioned last week, the whole world was destroyed. There was nothing there. Noach and his sons, all this year that they were in the ark, they had to work constantly, non-stop, for these animals. Basically, a lot of chesed that they have to do constantly. Even didn't sleep, couldn't do whatever they wanted, couldn't sit and read a book. There was no such a thing. Constantly. The lion needs this, and the bird needs this, and the tiger needs this, and the elephant needs that. And constantly they worked, him and all his sons. We know that when Shem met Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, Eliezer asked him, so how was it in that ark? He says, we worked constantly, non-stop, around the clock, and we had to do it because we had to do it. When a new world need to be built, Abraham took this example. What is the world stands on? Chesed. The same Abraham and his sons did in the ark. That's how he wants to found the next generation, or the new nation. Okay. Built on Chesed, and this is how constantly he was involved in Chesed. It says in the Gemara, Masechet Bava Metzia, a man saw his friend that used to see constantly Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu Navi doesn't reveal himself to all kind of people, right? To very, very righteous people, obviously. So, and this one used to see Eliyahu Navi. He sees him that his eyebrows and his eyelids and his eyelashes are all burnt So he asks him, why is that? He said, I asked Eliyahu Navi if he can show me how the tzaddikim, how the righteous people in the Olam Elyon, in the next world, how do they elevate themselves to learn Torah? So Eliyahu, he said, okay, and he told me that I could look at all the chairs of all the tzaddikim except the chair of Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia, I shouldn't look at, but I couldn't control myself, and I had to look at his chair to see how exactly it's done. And I saw that all the other chairs, the angels, they lift them up. But Rabbi Chia, his chair gets up by itself. So once I looked at this chair of Rabbi Chia, two beams of fire came out, got into my eyes and burned them. So the next day, he went to the grave of Rabbi Chia and started to pray and started to learn the Tosefta, the addition that he wrote on the Gemara. And because he learned the addition that Rabbi Chia wrote on the Gemara, he got cured. Okay? That's the story that it says in the Gemara. Says Ashir HaKadosh on his explanation to Parashat Yitro. It says, Moshe ala el Elokim. Moshe lifted up himself or went to heaven. Lifting up, whatever it means here, it's not. We're not talking only about dead people like Rabbi Chia, stories from the past. We're talking about alive people too. We see that Eliyahu Navi didn't die. Eliyahu Navi went to heaven. How? With fire, horses of fire came and took him to heaven. But he didn't do it on his own. He needed the help from heaven to take him up to heaven. Moshe Rabbeinu did not need any help. כתוב, ומשה עלה by himself el Elokim, whatever. Right? Okay? Another thing, another midrash in Bereshit Rabbah, it says, Rabbi Yehuda gives a mashal. He says, Mashal lemelech, a king that had two sons, one younger and one older. So to the younger, he tells him, come and let's walk together. I hold your hand and we will walk together. But to the older that can go on his own, he tells him, Hitalech lefanai, go before me, go, right? You can go, you can lead the way. That's the difference between Avraham and Noach. Noach, he was a very righteous man. Et Elokim italech Noach. Hashem tells him, you need help. You cannot do it on your own. I'll go with you. But Avraham can go on himself, with his own strength. Italech lefanai, Hashem tells him, go before me. Italech lefanai ve'etamim. Avraham has his own strength. He doesn't need any help, and he can go on his own. Again, Masechet Baba Metzia, I started to speak about Rabbi Chia. I want to explain you a little bit who was Rabbi Chia. It says, Resh Lakish, Tanad Be'eliyahu, Parashat Tet. Resh Lakish, he was another rabbi. He would mark the graves of big rabbis that passed away. Why? Because we know that Kohanim cannot go on graves, they can get impure, right? So, contaminated. So, to prevent people, Kohanim, to go on their graves, he would mark them so, he made a mitzvah so that they would not go on top of their graves. When he came to the cave of Rabbi Chia, this cave kind of disappeared. He couldn't find it. He's looking, cannot find this grave. So Chashadato, he felt weak. He says, what? I'm not entitled to see his grave? Why I cannot see his grave? So he says, Rabbono shel Olam, didn't I learn Torah like he learned? Yet called, a voice from heaven came and said, yes, you learned Torah like he learned, but you didn't teach Torah like he did. And that's the difference. He didn't teach Torah like he did. When Rabbi Chia and Rabbi Hanina would argue in Torah, so Rabbi Hanina would say, you're arguing with me? If, God forbid, the Torah was forgotten, I would bring all the Torah back only from my arguments, only from the way I learned Torah. That's what Rabbi Hanina tells to Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia answers him, do you argue with me? If the Torah, God forbid, would be forgotten, you know what I would do so the Torah would not be forgotten? And it says here a whole big description. What would Rabbi Chia do so that the Torah would not be forgotten? What he would do? He would plant some cotton, okay? And he would grow it and make threads from it, all kind of ropes and threads, and create nets from it also. And with these nets, he used to hunt deer, okay? Then the meat of the deer, after he kills it, right, he gives it to orphan kids to eat. But the skin of it, he would make from it parchments, and he would write the Torah on it. Now, he would collect 5 students. Each student, he would teach them one Torah, like one Chumash Bereshit to one boy, Chumash Shmot to another boy, Vaikra Bamidbar Dvarim to 5 students. Then he would collect 6 different kids, and he would teach them, each one he would teach different Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, the Mishnah that the Gemara was written about it. Okay? And so he would go from town to town and would tell the kids that he already taught, you teach one another. The one that that learned Bereshit, you teach your friend Bereshit, and you learn from him Shemot, and so on. That's how it makes them learn all the Torah, and he would go from place to place and do the same thing to everyone. So they're asking a question. Rabbeinu HaKadosh used to say, Kama gdolim ma'aseh the things that Rabbi Chia did are so great. And the question is, what is so great? He was such a talent, he was so great man. Why he needs to take care of hunting and growing there, making nets, and who cares about these things? Can't he appoint people to do this and he would just teach Torah? Why he needs to go and do all this by himself? So another thing that I want to go and explain about Rabbi Chia. Gemara continues and says that in Masechet Ketubot it says that Rabbi Chia was worthwhile to be appointed to lead the community after Rabbeinu HaKadosh. But Rabbeinu HaKadosh did not want to prefer him from other rabbis, even though he was the greatest, because of his great deeds, because of his important projects that he took upon himself, which are called Zikuy Harabim, to merit other people, to make more mitzvot, to learn more Torah, to have more knowledge in Torah and stuff like that. So, Gemara continues. He speaks about, he says, Eliyahu Navi was used to go to the yeshiva of Rabbi. And every Rosh Chodesh he would come to him, but one Rosh Chodesh that he comes to him, he came late. So he tells him, Eliyahu, why did you come late? He says, oh, don't ask, I had such a big task today. I had to go to Avraham Avinu to wake him up from his grave, to wash his hands, to wait until he finishes praying, to put him back to sleep. Then I had to wake Yitzchak, to wash his hands, to wait until he finishes prayer, to put him back to sleep. And then I had to do the same to the Yaakov. And then I came late. So he tells him, excuse me, you couldn't wake them up all in one shot and finish. What is this slowly job that you have to do? He says, you don't understand. If I will wake them all up and they will pray their prayer will bring the Mashiach, and the world is not ready yet. Well, I cannot do such a thing. Rabbi is asking him, do we have somebody in this world that are not equal, but maybe close to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, to their prayer, to the power of their prayer? He says, yeah, Rabbi Chia and his students, and his sons. Rabbi Chia and his sons? Rabbeinu HaKadosh hears that. Next day, he appoints him to lead the prayer, to be the chazan, next to the teva, that he will pray. Rabbi Akiva prays. He says, Mashiv Ruach, wind starts to blow. He says, Morid HaGeshem, rain starts to come. And then when he came to Tchiyat HaMetim, he says, Mechaya HaMetim, the whole world starts to shake. The whole world is like kind of reviving. And in heaven they're asking, who taught this secret to the world? Who said? They said, Eliyahu Navi. Eliyahu, you said the secret? They punished him. They whipped him with 60 whips of fire. Wow. And they told him, now you go down and confuse them so that they won't be able to concentrate and pray, because when Rabbi Chia prays, Hashem answers. He came like a bear of fire, they say. He confused them. They couldn't really concentrate, and that's when this prayer had finished. Rabbi Chia, when he taught other people how important it is, how strong, how great it is in heaven when somebody teaches other people. Let's go back to where were we? To Moshe Rabbeinu. We spoke about Abraham. I want to speak to you about Moshe. Moshe dedicated himself to the Jewish nation. From daybreak till dawn, till night, right? He teaches them with a lot of patience, with a lot of caring. He teaches them, and it says, "Vayered Moshe el ha'am." Moshe was in heaven. He was an angel already. Okay, and naturally, when somebody comes from heaven, Bemet, he cares about food, he cares about this world, he doesn't care. And he wants to go and continue elevating himself and continue working on his spirituality. No, Moshe didn't go to deal with his own spiritual growth or with his own business. Vayered el ha'am. He went down to the nation to be with them, to teach them, to elevate them too. Not only him, Moshe kibel Torah miSinai u'mesara leYehoshua. He taught, he taught all the nation, and it says in one of that he taught 4 times. He taught each thing, to Yehoshua, to Aaron's kids, and to the Zkenim, and then to the Jewish people, constantly, without being tired, without thinking about himself. Moshe Rabbeinu, Zikuy Harabim. It says in Pirkei Avot, כל המזכה את הרבים, אין חטא בא על ידו. He wouldn't sin. Moshe זכה וזיכה את הרבים. He had the merit and merited other people. זכות הרבים תלוי בו. שנאמר, צדקת השם עשה ומשפטו עם ישראל. Like all the mitzvot that the Jewish people are going to do now is on his name. For example, let's try to understand this. בעל המים לועז says, משל, למה הדבר דומה? A very wealthy man had 2 children that got sick. So he calls a big doctor to come and cure them. He looks at the doctor and he sees that the doctor is sick himself. He tells him, I see that you're not feeling well. How you'll be able to cure my kids when you yourself are not feeling well? He says, I can cure them and I can cure myself. I just don't have the money to buy the medicine. I see that you're a wealthy man. If you're going to buy medicine, and I'll take a little bit to myself also. So this is called Zikuy Harabim. Whatever Jewish people know, it all goes to Moshe Rabbeinu, because Moshe Rabbeinu taught them this. Okay? So whoever teaches other people, he enjoys from this himself too. Let's continue. Speaks about, so what is the common denominator between Abraham, Rabbi Chia, and Moshe Rabbeinu? Kulam zikuy Harabim. They cared about other people. They were such strong people because of that. They were the leaders, and Hashem chooses leaders. Hashem doesn't let leaders, just like that. Pinchas. It says about Pinchas ben Azar Kohen, שפנחס השיב את חמתי מעל בני ישראל. Hashem was so upset about the Jewish people, he was so angry at them. בקנוי קנאתי, because he felt jealous for Hashem, let's say. And because of that, ולא כיליתי את בני ישראל, I didn't exterminate, I didn't kill all of them. הנני נותן לו את בריתי שלמה. From now on, all his children, and we know that Pinchas's children were Kohanim Gdolim. And he never died. We know that Pinchas is Eliyahu, and Eliyahu we know that go from Brit Milah to Brit Milah. He has all kind of things that they send him from heaven. He has to do this and have to do that. And we mentioned before he had to go to Abraham and to Yitzchak and to Yaakov and to do all kind of things. Right? So he never died. Pinchas did not get this married because he endangered himself, or because he was so conniving, he was felt. No, because he made Zikuy Harabim, because he cared for other people. Listen, ladies, we started Baruch Hashem, the shiur that Mother started over here. Great school. People who go to shiurs, people who go to certain minyan that needs to be stronger, people who, all this is called Zikuy Harabim. It's very important to people who started and to people who participate in this. In Sefer Tuvcha Yabi of Arav Zilberstein, sorry, he's the son-in-law of not Kanievsky. Rabbanit Yehoshua. So, over there, he has a story about a man that had a very good talent in giving shiur. He used to give very, very nice shiur. So he would do it here and there. But then he got an offer to do it more, to stable it and to make it more professional, to give many classes, not only once a week or once a month, every day, and be involved with Kirov and make classes and get salary and this and that. He was concerned. If I'll start doing it, which is very important, Zikuy Harabim is good, but look at my Torah. I sit and study Torah all day. I won't be able to study Torah all day like I used to. And if I'm getting out of learning, I won't be so concentrating afterwards. It's going to be very hard to get again into it. And what to do? So he went to the Chafetz Chaim and he asked him a question. Rabbi, what should I do? Is it important for me to go and study Torah and elevate myself? Or should I do this Zikuy Harabim? Should I teach and do Kiruv and stuff like that? So Chafetz Chaim explained him. He said, let's imagine, or let's imagine that you are producing, let's say, shoes. Okay? Can we compare the shoes that you make on your own independently to shoes that a factory, right, produces to the crowd, to the masses? When you create shoes, so yeah, it's a very, very high quality, and it's precisely to the person that you're working with. You take his measurements. You want to he has a certain order. He wants a certain color. He wants a certain this. So you work basically according to his wish. You care very much about quality. So it is a very quality shoe. It could be very expensive, but it's only one or two or three. But when a factory makes a lot of shoes, they don't care about individuals so much. They care about quantity. And let's ask the truth. who makes more money? Who is richer?
The company.
Factory owner, right? Because he makes it to the masses. He makes a lot. He makes a lot of money. So he says, in our generation, says the Chafetz Chaim, it's very important. Of course, there's a very special high level to Talmidei Chachamim that sit and learn. But if you do have this quality of teaching other people and people accept from you, you cannot sit at home and not influence people. You are required to go out, because here, what matters nowadays in our generation is quantities, he says. Especially if you have the talents to bring people closer to Hashem. Imagine to yourself if all the people that today, Baruch Hashem, we hear classes, shiurim, in the internet, in cassettes and CDs, if all those people that started to talk lately in this organization and that organization would sit at home, learn to themselves, and won't expose themselves, we would lack so much, right? So, okay. Rav Bakshi Doron has a book, it's called Binyan, a series of books, and he writes something very interesting regarding leadership. He says, the Gemara in Ta'anit says, 3 leaders had Israel, and these were Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. And 3 big presents, good presents, we got with their merit. The well, because of Miriam, the cloud, because of Aaron, and the man, because of Moshe. When Miriam passed away, so the well disappeared. And came back with the merit of Moshe and Aaron. Because what would the people drink, you know? When Aaron passed away, the clouds disappeared and came back, the well and the clouds, for the merit of Moshe.